Once something is stripped away from you, that's when the world is opening up for you and happiness can finally be yours again. Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now this is a general reading for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, whatever area of your chart you're wanting to look at. And if you're not familiar with the placements in your birth chart, there is a link down below to get yourself a free birth chart. It does help if you have your time and place of birth as well as your date. So, as a general reading rules apply. Roles can be reversed. I can be talking about you and actually be meaning someone else, or I can be talking about someone else and actually meaning you. But that's unlikely because my readings are quite person-centered. Now, timing is not absolute with tarot, never has been, never will be, but this reading either is for you or it isn't because there is a past and a present in the spread. Now, there's also a more distant, relevant past where you've learned a lesson that may or may not be affecting your behaviour right now. So if the past and the present don't fit, then this reading's not for you. If that distant relevant past does fit and the rest doesn't, then this reading hasn't kicked in for you yet. But it's not a spread that allows the whole take what resonates, leave the rest. It's a quantum whole. You take the lot or you take none of it. So let me see. What else do I need to say at the start of these things? I filmed a few today and I'm running a bit dry. So there's a link to a Facebook group down below. You can contact me directly through the Facebook group if you're wanting a personal reading. You can also contact me through my Tumblr, I think, Sunchild Adventures, when I remember to check the inbox on that. So the Facebook group is a lot more reliable. My brain has gone blank, so I'm going to crack on straight with the cards. Let's bring the cards up for you, because it looks, Sagittarius, like you've got quite a bit going on at the minute, to put it mildly. But then again, who hasn't? But you have the Ten of Wands and the Five of Pentacles at the moment. So at the moment, I believe that you are being protected. We have the protection card from the Queen of the Moon Oracle here. But it's not necessarily going to feel like this. But what's interesting here, we have a fiery climax approaches and then a time to give rather than take. Now, I think these two oracle cards are separate from one another. The fiery climax first, and then the time to give rather than take leading straight after it, because you are approaching a time of change. You're approaching a time of change quite dramatically. And I do think that this burden that you're carrying right now, bear in mind I've not looked at any of the clarification cards yet, but this burden that you're carrying right now is going to shift or end. And it's going to end with things initially seeming like they are being taken away. What is really interesting here is, from the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, 3 cards wanted to jump out, but the first one that jumped out was the same goetic spirit as came out in the card Infernal. Paimon, one of the kings of hell, one of the 9 kings of hell, manifests as a man with a feminine face astride a camel. He commands 200 fallen angels, half previously of the heavenly order of powers. Paimon is a gatekeeper. Paimon leads you towards secrets and towards the revelation of secrets. And we have Haziel with Paimon on the bottom of this card with divine forgiveness. There's something that you are finding out that I believe you've set out to try and find out, and working towards finding this out has been a hassle. And it is unearthed more responsibilities, more work for you. You've ended up carrying more than just your own interest in this. But you are promising a new beginning for others, or someone else is promising a new beginning for you, or both, to be honest. but I do find that they are influencing you to walk away from a previous dream, maybe the dream that you're having at the moment, because I really do get from here that answers are coming. Your ships have started coming in, and at the moment all they've done is not created more questions, but created more work. But you are going to be moving forward shortly with the influence of somebody else. So let's have a look at what all this burden you're under right now. So it's a burden that you are committed to carry, but you're not seeing all the information right now. Now, this Five of Pentacles, 5 always symbolises challenge. It's also the number of freedom, but freedom costs. You know, there's... but once something is stripped away from you, that's when the world is opening up for you and happiness can finally be yours again. That's really interesting, because what we also have here is Zachariel, the angel of memory. Now, I'm going to read him out, because there was, where was it? There's just this one comment in the book. The power of remembrance is balanced by the power of forgetfulness. Pouring memory into the cup of forgetfulness makes room for new memory. Zachariel is the angel of all memory, even memory lost. If you take something with you, you must also leave something behind. And I think you are leaving something behind with this death card here. This death card is showing a period of change that you are about to step into. And at that point, your feet ain't going to touch the floor, because it'll be time to move, but time to move in a really good way. And you're not being burdened then by petty details. We've got 3 cards here. So it kicked off by the Temperance, but clarified by the World and the Emperor. So there's something that after whatever it is taken away from you, or that you release, you are stepping forward into exercising your own power, and the world is going to be working with you. You will be guided in this. As I said, you are being protected, but it's something where you're having a far wider scope than what you have right now, which might make you think, what? After all, you started to try and uncover one thing, and you've just ended up carrying a lot of burdens for other people all at the same time. So let's see what leads up to... Oh, yeah, because here we have... This is the other point I was going to make about the Oracle of Heaven and Hell. We have Lehaya with obedience and Mebahia with intellectual lucidity. So it's almost like some information is going to be revealed to you that you have to be really clear and forgiving about. And I feel like there's almost the point of, okay, spilt milk, it's done now, time to move on. We can't let this hold us back any longer, because you are raring to go. There is, you know that there is a new direction that promises a lot of harvest, abundance, fertility coming your way as soon as you decide that you are moving forward. But it's almost like this, whatever it is, it has been holding you back. Let's have a look what this thing is. I'm going to go to the distant past, where there was a dream that you were called to defend, and you weren't really quite sure about it, but you dived on in there anyway, and things started changing really, really quickly. But I think there maybe even then there was things that you were well aware that you didn't know, and you had to make plans to work around what all these unknowns were. And not everybody was singing from the same hymn sheet, and not everybody was working in the same direction as you. And I think that could have upset things a little bit, because it led to some form of conflict that was maybe not necessary, because it came from a basis of lies, illusions, deception, misunderstanding. I will say deception as well, whereas normally I try and leave that out. But with that following straight on from the Seven of Swords to the Moon here, in the same deck no less, I think that this conflict was based on somebody either lying to you or lying to themselves and getting hold of the wrong end of the stick and trying to combat you, which just left you with yet again more work. So you've got, I do think 10 of wands here, 10 of wands here. This is the same burden that you've been carrying for a while, you know, and what I feel is it really is time to just go, you know, all these wands that, rods that I'm carrying, yep, not anymore. But there's news that's going to come to you that will, or some form of illumination that's coming to you that will help relieve you of all of that. There's understanding coming, because I also want to say perception, because Paimon here on the Oracle of Heaven and Hell is bringing deception, but above it, divine forgiveness. Somebody was operating under a lie or under a misunderstanding, but to quote A Course in Miracles, it's okay. Because you can understand why they were acting like that or thinking like that as more information comes to the surface for you. So it's not just, you know they were wrong, but they might not know they were wrong, or you know they were wrong and they knew they were wrong, but you start to understand why they reacted the way they did, why they acted the way they did. You know, you learn something about their past, some form of motivating factor that makes you go, oh, of course. How come I didn't see that before? Which means it becomes okay-ish. Forgiveness is the bit that you need, because it will free you up to move forward to whatever this transformation is. So, you had this period of conflict where you were forced in on your own, but to a point that being forced to your own devices and on your own, you didn't mind. You really, this is still in the past, you really didn't mind. It was almost like, peace and quiet. You know, there's under the light of the moon here, however, so there's still, you were operating under a misunderstanding by this point as well, I think. But there was a dream that you was going, yeah, I'm quite happy with this. Yeah, I can move ahead with this. I do think that you were given that, whatever that dream was, as a not a healing modality, a healing tool, just to give you rest to recuperate before you took up this burden again, or realised that you were still carrying it. Because you made slow progress with it, but it was too much of a balancing act, and too often anger would come into play. Now we have the Devil card here, and that's the Tarot Apocalypsis Devil card, and he's an angry fella. There's no doubt about that. So let's see what we've got to clarify that one. Okay, so we have Justice and the Page of Pentacles. So you were feeling hurt and you wanted to set things right, and it was altogether being too slow and you just weren't getting anywhere. But you set plans. Oh, 10 of Wands again. There's our old friend again. You set plans to try and understand this, to try and unify. And it's almost like you threw yourself into partnership with something else to try and escape this burden. But this burden never actually disappeared. But you did lay plans for something more in the future. The other reason that I'm saying all of this is we have on the bottoms of the deck Wheel of Fortune, 9 of Swords, and 7 of Pentacles. So a chance event helps you understand the stress and anxiety that you have been under, which actually reveals a harvest that you can nurture. So we have this change coming up. Back to this Death card. Clarified by the 5 of Swords and Death once again. So there is change. There is change to the conflict coming up. And also with this 5 of Swords, I always feel that that's far more competition than conflict, but it's almost like there's a group of people who think they've got one over you and no, they haven't. You've got one over them. Because, like I say, the world here is, so whatever this information is that comes to you, it sorts a lot of stuff out. It gives you understanding, but it also gives you the tool to smack that conflict down every time it rears its head. Because I do feel, where is it? I've got to find where I've left this other Five of Swords. I do feel that this conflict... Okay, I'm being thick here. Where's this Five of Swords gone? Is something that can raise its head again and again, if you let it. I seem to have completely imagined that other Five of Swords. Oh, how weird. But you are finally putting an end to it by coming into your own power, by having this information, by receiving whatever this unexpected event is. That's where you are starting to really manifest your own, yes, dream, but it's more nurturing and it's more outward face. We've got Prince of Cups with the angel carrying it, with the... He's carrying a bow and arrow, so his sight is fixed upon the target of achieving his dream. And we have the Queen of Cups here. Now, I always see her as some form of politician on this deck. And yet again, she is pleased with herself. She is really, really pleased with herself. But she's pleased with herself because she knows what she's doing is going to have a spiraling effect, a good effect that blossoms out. Because it leads you into a time of Ten of Cups, happiness, Queen of Pentacles, nurturing, and again, temperance. There's that element of you are finally getting to balance. Whereas before the temperance was saying, right, now time to act, this new temperance is, and now time to rest and just balance what we have so far. I know there was another Five of Swords. Huh. There, under my nose. Right here. So let's look at a potential future. Four of Cups, Six of Cups, Five of Cups. Take the new path. Don't try and recapture the old. Don't try and bring back the nostalgic sense of whatever. Take the new path, because it will become quite clearly obvious to you. And with what you have left after you've dumped these burdens, you have little gems in your hands. You have 2 offerings that mean something and 3 discarded cups that mean nothing. Nothing at all. And this creates a transformation for you. A look, right, you don't get better than this. Judgment, i.e. that transformation, that resurrection. 2 of Cups. So love, 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 love. Unity of 2 forces within you, 2 forces within your life. Or love. There's clarified by the sun. Now, normally I wouldn't focus on the love aspect, but that's really strong there with the... so it might even be a self-love that's going on there. You know, the who you want to be compared to who you are, finally coming together in a way that you haven't had the opportunity because you were committed. There was a 4 of Wands here somewhere. You were committed to carrying this burden, sorting this burden out in the face of all this conflict. So that promises a really good future as long as you are listening to the inspiration and the new path that is offered to you by spirit, by the divine, by a higher purpose. Okay, and this makes more sense now of this lahaya with obedience. You know, obedience to the right thing. We had a couple of smatterings of the justice card around as well, didn't we? So there's certainly the setting things right and then sticking to it, because whoever started all of this stuff off, they didn't stick to the thoughts of justice. They were pursuing their own agenda, but they weren't necessarily being fair or just or honest or truthful. And they weren't thinking about the cause of justice per se, whereas I think you need to for this to go right for you. Because you are wanting things to return back to the happiness that you have known in the past, but things are moving, and things are moving. Yes, you need to plan for change, but you do need to listen to the inspiration that comes to you, to the that way you have victory coming to you. And we have a final temperance card. We're having action and balance all in one. So that's all 3 temperance cards here. And I do think you are the first reading, and let me see, you're reading number 9, aren't you? So you're the first reading not to have a 2 of Swords or 7 of Cups turn up, which has been a prevalent card for these April readings. But we have temperance, that time to act and balance all at the same time, with the 6 of Wands, victory, and 3 of Cups, celebration. And that does feel really celebratory. You know, it's so whatever this burden is, the opportunity to release it is coming, putting you in a position of greater power. Now, the opportunity to release that burden is from an outside event that comes in, but I think the real thing that helps you release the burden is not so much an event as information that comes in and clicks everything into place, possibly for more than just you, but mainly for you, because that's all that matters in this reading here. You are protected during all of this, and we have the angel energy presiding over all of this. We have the Archangel Metatron. I am united with the source of all goodness, love and creativity. So remember what I was saying about sticking to the highest ideals of the situation. If you stick to the highest ideals of the situation, it will work out. If you get a bit more sort of, no, mine, you know, defensive or selfish or vengeful, you know, because I don't see that in these cards, but I see the excuse for it, or even the reason for it, so you could be tempted to act in that way. It's not worth the hassle, you know. Obedience, intellectual lucidity, divine forgiveness. There is a new time coming with this twin death card here. So use it, grab hold of it. It's time to put some things in the cup of forgetfulness so that you can fill it with some nice new memories. Okay, so I hope that means something to you, Sagittarius. If it does, comment down below. Please press subscribe while you're down there, if you would, please. I'm a new channel. It helps. This is what I forgot to say at the beginning, the like, share, subscribe speech. So yeah, press like if you like the video, because it helps the video get seen. Please subscribe. I'm a young channel, although not so young now. I think I've just passed 6 months, or I'm about to pass 6 months. But every subscriber helps. Join the Facebook group. You can see these videos that I post. If the notifications bell isn't as effective as it could be, you can see the astrology videos that I watch. I try to post them on there quite regularly, especially certainly the really interesting ones. Other readers sometimes, and you can contact me there directly if you're interested in a personal reading. Remember, highest ideals, but this will work out for you lovely. Cheers.